There's about 6,000 people that have choroideremia in the States. It's an X-linked disease. The women are carriers, the men have it. They'll go blind from it. But sunlight will make me go blind faster.
Do you have any depression related to your medical condition?
He's doing this amazing thing, but for him, he will never be able to see it as a success.
When and if I do go blind, I want to be able to say, well, I did all I could.
Hi, I'm Addie.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Coco.
I'm Darren.
And we're from the Santa Barbara Middle School Team Press, here with
EJ Scott.
and
Ryan Suffern.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
No. Nice to meet you.
What'd I do? Oh, sorry. I'm blind.
Okay, so when you at your worst times, what is something that motivated you?
Oh, like running the marathon. So some of the real down moments during the marathons, my guides would motivate me. I had really good guides that were really uplifting and positive and said all the right things. And sometimes I would still not want to hear it, but I needed it. I needed it. So my guides, for sure.
Who are some of your guides?
Some were relatives. A couple of cousins of mine are really good marathoners. There's a guy whose wife works with my girlfriend, and he ran 4 marathons with me last year. And then there were some strangers that ran with me. So a little everything.
When I was down, well, I'll be honest. I mean, you know, doing justice to EJ's story. I mean, there was a few times where they're definitely in the edit room, not quite sure how things were going to come together, and trying to do my best to help, you know, help EJ get his story out there, to help bring exposure to this disease, to help find a cure. I felt a certain burden that I needed to, uphold my part of the deal.
What is a fear that you have, and how do you plan to conquer it?
A fear I have right now? Well, I have a fear of going blind. I'm not crazy about that one. And what I'm doing now to try to raise awareness and try to raise money for a cure, that's what I'm doing, you know. I also I don't like mayonnaise. That's a fear. I just try to stay away from it in general, if that's a fear.
Well, I'm a recently new father, and so I have all sorts of parenthood fears. One of them being my daughter someday getting old enough to go to middle school. So that's definitely a fear. But yeah, I think you know, she's almost 2 years old now. And you have to learn to kind of let go of your fears, let go of control, and realize you can't control the world at large, but you can just try to do your best. And I think being motivated by fear isn't the best way to kind of go through life. And so trying to see through the fear and yeah, that's kind of my learning curve in progress right now.
How do you hope your efforts will inspire people who are struggling?
You know, I really want people that are struggling, whether it be in my situation or in other situations, to not just wait around for other people to do something, that they can do something in their own community or in their own area. It doesn't have to be running 12 marathons in a year. That can be a little daunting and intimidating to a lot of people, but you could do something simple like sell stuff on eBay or start a Facebook page and really just speak up about what's going on with you. And once you do that, you could maybe inspire somebody else to open their mouth and to speak out on their own behalf. And hopefully there's some sort of ripple effect that'll occur, and that would be lovely. Thank you.
Well, for me, the film, it's the last line in the film that EJ says, where he talks about he he says, I think if you're trying, you're making a difference. Just by the act of trying, I'm making a difference. And so I really hope that that is an idea that, you know, gets communicated through the film, that resonates with people, because I think we're so afraid of failing, even though we have all of these different challenges in our world and in our lives, that we don't even try. And so we therefore fail because we don't even try. And so I think if more people just tried to make a difference, if they just did their best in whatever means that translates to, I think we'd see a drastically different world. And so in my own little way with this film, I hope to try to communicate that and hopefully affect a difference.
What advice can you give people who are going through rough times?
What advice can I give to people who are going through rough times? I think I think everybody has their different challenges, and so I would be careful not to try to mask over what their challenge is by just giving too generic of an answer that doesn't do justice to what it is that they're dealing with. But I think I would try to, you know, acknowledge that the world is filled with challenge, and there's a lot of pain and suffering out there, and life is hard in so many different ways. But I think when we stop trying to ignore that and actually address it and communicate it and realize that we all have our problems, we come to realize that that's something that we can lean on each other for, as opposed to trying to hide and put into these dark corners of our lives as if we're ashamed of what it is that we're dealing with. And so that's what I would maybe try to communicate to somebody who was dealing with something.
I would say that don't be afraid to ask for help. I would say a great support system is important, whether it be family, friends, a community, some people going through similar challenges. Yeah, because I wouldn't have done what I basically the whole thing of me running the marathons was me asking for help. You know, I'm going around to different countries, I mean different states, and looking for attention because we need help. This foundation's very small. The people that are going blind, I mean, there's a lot of people going blind, but not enough to really get the attention that I think we deserve, because a lot of people that are struggling with what I struggle with, they don't speak up, and it's easy to ignore people that don't speak up. So I would say, you know, speak up, ask for help, and don't be embarrassed by it, and hopefully your family can support you, and also be okay with asking for help, or being okay with you asking for help. So that's my answer.
Who or what was your inspiration behind you wanting to make a difference?
This might be a little before your time, but I'm a huge Michael J. Fox fan. Any Michael J. Fox fans in the house? Anybody? He's got a new show on NBC. Your parents. Well, Michael J. Fox,
Your parents? Jeez.
Well, Michael J. Fox, I mean, when I was a kid, I really looked up to Michael J. Fox just as an actor, and I loved his characters, and Alex P. Keaton and Marty McFly, and I was a huge fan of his. And when he got older, he developed Parkinson's, and he came out with Parkinson's, and that was right before I realized I got diagnosed with choroideremia, and seeing how he dealt with it really inspired me. He's very vocal about what he's going through. He's done a lot for that cause, and if I could make even a fraction of what he's done with choroideremia, I think that's really saying something. And even now that he's going back to acting. He's got his own TV show on NBC. I think that's amazing. And and I watch the show every week, and he's doing great. And so he's still inspiring me. So Michael J. Fox.
Obviously, for this project, EJ would be the inspiration for me.
Sure.
I've seen this guy, walk the talk, actually live this for a lot longer than just this past year. This past year was certainly the climax to that point of his work with this, but he really stands out within the community that he and I are both involved with in Los Angeles, and so I think I wish I had more people like EJ in my life, because they are inspiring figures, and they challenge you to be better people.
Who helped you to complete your journey?
My guides obviously helped me complete my journey. My girlfriend was a huge source of support for me, and people that have reached out, even people I never met and still haven't met, on Twitter or Facebook or something like that. They would give me support and just say, "Way to go," and you can do it. And really my nephews have the same disease, and they really inspired the last 10 years or 9 years of me fundraising and raising awareness. They're 8 years old. They're just about 9 and 5 years old, my nephews, and they both have it. They don't know they have it, but someday they will know, and hopefully by then we'll be really, really close to something tangible of a treatment or a cure. But they motivated me. After I got diagnosed, almost a year later, I learned my sister was pregnant, and that's when I started thinking about fundraising and doing something myself, and trying to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to do something, and that's where it all started.